It is Thursday, September 17th, and this is the Port St. Lucie Sports Network Daily Morning Show. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics is tonight at 7 p.m. on ESPN. The Heat look to push their series lead to 2-0. In other Heat news, the NBA announced their All-Pro teams yesterday, and one Miami player was recognized as one of the NBA's best. Heat small forward Jimmy Butler was selected to the All-NBA third team. The Miami Marlins took Game 2 of their series against the Boston Red Sox with an 8-4 victory. Catcher Jorge Alfaro had 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. The Marlins are back in action today at 1:10 p.m. against the Red Sox from Marlins Park. Jose Urena will be the starting pitcher for the Fish. The Tampa Bay Rays fall to the Washington Nationals 4-2 in extra innings. 2 runs from the Nats in the top of the 10th proved to be too much for Tampa to overcome. The Rays start a new series tonight on the road against the Baltimore Orioles. First pitch by Blake Snell is scheduled for 7:35 p.m. A spot in the Stanley Cup Finals is on the line for the Tampa Bay Lightning as they look to close out the Eastern Conference Finals tonight against the New York Islanders. Puck drop is 8 p.m. on NBCSN. In college football news, the Big Ten has officially decided to bring back football for this fall season. The conference is slated to start playing games as soon as October 23rd. They will play an 8-game season concluding with the Big Ten Championship game on December 19th. The 2020 U.S. Open from Winged Foot Golf Course in New York will start today. The first groups teed off this morning at 6:50 a.m. Defending champion Gary Woodland takes the course at 1:05 p.m. In local high school football news, Fort Pierce Westwood defeated Fort Pierce Central 49-0. All right, everyone, this is going to be our Thursday night football preview for this week. This week's matchup, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Just a quick recap over their games last week. The Browns lose to the Baltimore Ravens 38-6. Got absolutely manhandled by the Ravens. Baker Mayfield was held under 200 yards passing. In the Cincinnati Bengals, it's Joe Burrow, the number 1 pick's NFL debut. They do lose 16-13. However, Burrow led a late game drive. Actually went down and scored a touchdown. They would have gave him the lead. But it's called back to an A.J. Green offensive pass interference. They send Randy Bullock out to kick the game-tying kick. Ends up with one of the worst game-tying attempts I've ever seen in my life, and they fall 16-13. Other news of these two teams, apparently the Browns are shopping Odell Beckham Jr. He's a guy that got brought in by the old regime. They have a new head coach and new GM right now. They don't necessarily see him in their future plans, so be on the lookout. Odell Beckham Jr. could be on the move soon. What is his stock value, though? We don't really know. I don't necessarily see them getting a lot in return for Odell Beckham Jr. at this point, but we will wait and see. Key matchups to watch in the game tonight, I'm looking at 2. First, I'm looking at Myles Garrett versus Jonah Williams. It's the Cleveland Browns' dominant defensive end versus the Cincinnati Bengals left tackle. The Bengals got to protect Joe Burrow, and especially his blind side in this game on Thursday night. Garrett's going to be coming off the edge. He was having a very good year before he got suspended last year. We all remember Myles Garrett getting suspended, I believe on Thursday night as well, when he ripped Mason Rudolph's helmet off his head and kind of clubbed him with it. He had 10 sacks before he was suspended for the rest of the year, so they're going to have to really make sure that they keep Garrett contained if they want to get their offense running. I do like the Bengals' weapons on offense, actually, despite their record last year. They got a healthy A.J. Green back. They just signed Joe Mixon. Long term, he's going to be around. I believe that that's going to be one of the keys, is making sure that Joe Burrow has time to throw and distribute the ball, and he's not running for his life with Myles Garrett chasing him. Another key matchup I'm looking at tonight is going to be Cody Parkey versus Randy Bullock in the kicking game. The Browns actually waived Austin Seibert after week 1. He's now the backup kicker for the Bengals. Randy Bullock missed that, like I said, horrible game-tying attempt at the end of regulation for the Bengals. So, can either team trust their kickers? If this comes down to a late-game kick or a late-game situation, is the offense going to have to potentially go for it on the 4th down as opposed to kicking? What are we going to see with them? It'll be interesting to watch. In terms of injuries, the Browns, they're a little banged up in defensive backs, so look for the Bengals wide receivers to take advantage of that. They're going to have to play some younger guys or some less experienced guys out there. Again, like I said, the Bengals have some pretty good offensive weapons, especially at wide receiver, so be on the lookout, see how that depth of the Browns is going to hold up. My final prediction, I did think the Bengals looked great, or not great, excuse me. I think they looked good at the end of Game 1 against the Chargers. The Browns, they still appear to be a work in progress. Remember last year coming into the year, they just had sky-high hopes. They didn't meet them. They didn't look good week 1. The Browns' passing game is not looking good right now. With all that said, the Cleveland Browns cannot lose this game. This is a must-win in week 2. I don't know how you have a must-win game in week 2, but here we are. I have the Cleveland Browns winning 21-17 just because if they lose, there's going to be big trouble in Cleveland. So we're going to keep my record all year. Obviously, I'm 0-0 right now. I didn't do last week because we hadn't started this channel yet. So next week we'll kind of give you an update, and at the end of the year we'll look back and see how I did. So again, just to reiterate, I'm going Cleveland 21, Cincinnati 17. Not necessarily because I like the Browns over the Bengals that much, just because the Browns cannot lose this game. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on all of our social media platforms, including Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for all of our latest content. You have been listening to the Port St. Lucie Sports Network, where we talk any sport, anytime, from Florida's Treasure Coast.